Christmas album, how did you choose the tracks?
Blimey.
They're difficult questions today, aren't they?
How do we choose the tracks? Actually, it was a common denominator of tunes, and we were down in Cornwall, and we were given a lot of material by a lady down there called Linda Collins, who seems to collect, in particular, Cornish carols, and we sat trying to kill time one day and went through a whole load, and she lent us quite a few as well.
Quite some
we took
rare
all these
books,
books away, yeah. And I think funny enough, we did have more or less the same taste. So
or the same lack of taste.
Or lack of taste, yeah. So in the end, I think it's sort of pared down to a few from that collection, plus some you knew. And
yeah, and I went through my carol books and things at home, and I mean, actually, not all of the songs are religious. There are a couple of sort of secular, wintry numbers. So one of them was a song that I found on the Voice of the People CD box set of field recordings, sung by Walter Pardon in the 1950s, and another one's from the Penguin Book of Canadian folk songs, which has been out of print for a long time. So actually, yeah, apart from the sort of body of stuff, which is Cornish and Breton as well,
yes.
we found some stuff in English. We found things from sort of all over the place as well.
I think the intention as well was to make it more of a winter CD as opposed to just Christmas. So
yeah.
we're trying to find things that would fit that criteria as well.
Yes, carols have got quite a big sort of folk background, really. So did you find it quite easy to find stuff and to work out arrangements for it?
Yeah, it wasn't difficult to find material. In fact, at one point it took me about 2 days to whittle down material to an album's length. But I think, obviously a lot of carols that, as you say, have traditional roots are very well known. So what we tried to do on this album is find a balance between the unfamiliar and familiar stuff. So the song we just did, the Sam's Day Carol, and Tomorrow Should Be My Dancing Day, those are the two, both from Cornwall, that are well known, I'd say, or pretty well known. And the other stuff is a little bit more obscure.
And when did you record it?
Well, I did mine in May. My part's in May, and I think I did yours in June.
Well, I did some stuff with Paul in May, and then in June I went to Cyprus, and I recorded the Christmas album 40 degrees centigrade.
In the swimming pool.
In the swimming trunk.
I suppose some of the gargling on there, actually.
Yeah. Just really out of sheer perversity.
So how did you get into the Christmas spirit?
Oh, humbug.
I can't remember. What is Christmas spirit?
I drank a lot of raki in Cyprus. That's Christmas spirit, isn't it?
We were in Turkey the week before, so
that's right.
We had there as well.
Raki there, yeah.
Yeah. So.
And
is this going very well for you, by the way?
It's good. And you worked with Brendan Kelly and Pete Flood on the album as well. How was that?
Same as usual, really.
We need some names.
Yeah. No, it was good. We thought we'd change the colour of this album a bit from stuff we'd done before. We had guests on a long time ago on some of our albums, but not over the last few years. So we got Brendan in to play bass clarinet, and I played some cor anglais on this album, which I've not done before. So I thought I made quite a nice texture, and then Pete added some of his usual sort of fairy dust of slightly eccentric percussion. Still wasn't loud enough to drown out the accordion.
Bad luck.
And onto Belshazzar's Feast more generally, why did you choose the name?
Well, we are very religious, aren't we?
Yeah, it comes from the Bible, and Paul used to be a nun.
Yeah, I was Pope for a while as well. And anyway, no, we both had church connections, I think, but that wasn't really the reason. I think we quite like the name. I think you thought of it, actually.
So it's my fault.
Your fault, really.
Yeah, well, it was a bit of a connection, and also it's just quite colourful as a name. It's got 2 Z's, and
a lot of folk club organisers can't pronounce it.
yeah, which is quite amusing.
Yeah.
We've had Belshazzar's ass quite a few times, haven't we?
Yes. So they are.
Your gigs are renowned for being quite humorous. Do you search for material with comic potential, or is it kind of a natural byproduct of performing live together?
Bit of both, actually, do you think?
I don't think we should talk about an actual blind product, actually. Not after last night.
No. I think some of the ideas come from nowhere, just driving along sometimes think of some of my work and then we try it out. I think sometimes we have a skeleton of what we're going to do and it sort of gradually
Evolves
as we go along. So, yeah, sometimes it's planned and other times it's not.
We used to play for a lot of so-called social dancing, which is sort of historic play for ball type stuff. And we'd often have to play the tune through 20 times on the same tune, so we'd start putting in nursery rhymes and silly little songs and stuff just to keep ourselves entertained because we're bored quite easily. Yeah. And so that was another strand of the so-called humour.
So that's where things like the Wombles come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Also, there's a lot of tunes that sound like other tunes, and I think that's what happens. We just pick them out.
And that's something that just naturally develops then?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, maybe it's just that we're a bit weird.
And Paul, when did the Swan Whistle first enter your repertoire and how?
I think it was during my probation. I don't know, I've had it for years actually. I think, that came out, and it was in a dance, wasn't it? In a social dance at a festival or something.
It was, actually, and they're still talking about it. It was one of their favourite tunes, and I do remember it because someone mentioned it very recently. It was a tune on one of our social dance CDs, one of the Kynaston albums called Orange Man.
Oh, was it that one?
Yeah, and they love that tune, and it's just one of these cliched 18th century tunes, and we did the dance through once, as we normally do over, I think it was
about 9 times through the tune.
Yeah, and then they said, do you want to change it and we'll do it again? So the thought of doing it another 9 times was, so we got the Swan Whistle out and played the whole thing on Swan Whistle, which we thought was hysterically funny. And a part of the dancers thought it was quite funny. Majority were just horrified, because it spoils a good tune for them, and actually that was it. So realising we'd offended some people,
I think it made
we just got to keep it in.
Yeah.
And do you have any kind of inspirations on the sort of the humour side?
People inspire us.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a great fan of Dad's Army and Les
Yeah.
Dawson, as you can tell from Paul's playing technique. You like Liberace, don't you?
Yeah, I love him. Well, he's dead now, but yeah. No,
Victor Borger.
Victor Borger, I think, was always childhood sort of hero, and I think the rest of it is much our own sort of inventions.
We do like a bit of Peter Cook and Dudley Moore, don't we?
Yeah.
Sort of,
Yeah.
and Radio 4.
Slightly anarchic.
Radio 4, sort of, sorry I haven't a clue, and things like that. Because we're quite intelligent and we listen to Radio 4. One of those statements is untrue.
And you've worked with children in schools as well.
Amazing, isn't it, really?
It should be on the internet. It's true. Yeah. Next question.
Well,
there's old people as well.
We worked
in schools.
We worked at a school in Gloucestershire, and we did a couple of hours with the kids doing sort of chorus songs and clapping, and might have done some dancing, I can't remember. And you did a sort of hairdressing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I did some martial arts.
Yeah.
And then at the end of these 2 hours, the headmistress stood up in front of the children and she said, "Now, what do we say to these 2 gentlemen who've entertained us?" And this kid at the back, his hand shot up and he said, "Stop!" That's as good as it gets.
Yeah.
And obviously, briefly on to the tour now. Paul, for you, what's it like touring with Bellowhead?
It's good fun actually. It's the same old thing though with touring. It's not as glamorous as it seems. There's a lot of waiting around. Actually, this is the best day yet because we've had something to do. Normally we're just sitting around.
We sat around in the M11 for quite a long time.
Oh yeah, today was lovely. Yes, and so no, but I've enjoyed it. Yeah, and it went better than I think we expected. Do you think?
I think we were quite apprehensive about it all because supporting a big band is quite nerve-wracking, and they've got their own following, and but seems to have.
So far so good.
Yeah.
Were you with her at Reading? So?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was alright.
And Paul, how are you finding doing 2 gigs every night?
I'd rather be doing something than sitting around being bored, actually, so it's fine by me. Yeah, quite enjoying it. Bellowhead's boring, really, compared to Belshazzar's. Not very good. Sorry, you can edit that. Actually, no, leave it on.